Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Pulkit. How are you doing, Pulkit?
Sir, I am doing very good, sir.
Pulkit, have you got yourself vaccinated?
Not yet, sir.
Have you gone for the registration?
Not yet, sir.
Are you aware about the website which is being used by the government of India for taking the registrations?
Sir, we are using the CoWIN portal for this.
Hmm.
My parents have been vaccinated. I have
Hmm.
not vaccinated myself because it's a reason I believe that I had already been diagnosed with the virus, and I believe I am a very healthy individual. So
Mhm.
because of that, and it is a resource which is at paucity, hence I have not vaccinated me yet.
What precautions you are taking so that you do not get reinfected by the virus?
Sir, I avoid going out because thanks to the digital environment, most of my work I could do on the sitting at home. Second,
Hmm.
even if I go out, I take precaution that I wear 2 masks and follow all the norms that have been mandated by the government regarding social distancing and norms regarding that.
Okay, Pulkit. That's nice to hear. Pulkit,
Thank you, sir.
you celebrate your birthday on 20th of March. That's what your DAF says.
Yes, sir.
Do you know the significance of this date? What is celebrated on this date?
Sir, the World Happiness Day.
Mhm.
On this day, we get the report by the United Nations regarding the world happiness. Usually, it's come around this particular date, and moreover, uh, at times it also coincides with the start of the Hindu calendar year also.
Mm. Pulkit, what is happiness according to you?
So it's a very subjective and very abstract notation, and I believe if I have to go according to me, it will be about living in my present moment, achieving success in them, and having a much more broader view regarding what is to come in my life.
Pulkit, happiness is more cognitive or more effective in nature?
Sir, I think it's a combination of both.
Mm.
It depends. Affective also, humans' relation also affected. We see
Mhm.
that's why we depend upon our family support, social security nets become very important in this regard, and
Mm.
cognitive also, because we are seeing that there is a famous saying that even the richest kings and queens were not also happy, even though they had all the luxuries at their availability, but somehow they were not having this sense of satisfaction. So I believe that it has to be a combination of both, and it's very difficult to crack the correct way of finding happiness as such, sir.
Okay. Pulkit, your date of birth is also significant with respect to the Indian history, especially during the medieval times. Are you aware of any important event that happened on your date of birth?
Sorry, sir, if you can help me with respect to year, maybe I can identify, but it's very difficult for me to write to recall just from this hint.
Okay. It was in the year 1739, 20th March 1739. Something significant happened.
Sir, maybe it's the invasion of Nadir Shah,
Yes.
and
And what did he
thereafter,
take away from India?
sorry, sir, I could not hear you. Can you repeat it, sir?
What did he take away from India?
Sir, I'll have to recall it. I think he took the famous peacock thorn by the
Hmm.
Mughal emperor.
Hmm.
And apart from this, he also caused a lot of riots and
Hmm.
got a lot of havoc in the country overall.
He belonged to which country?
Sir, he came from Afghanistan, from what
Hmm.
I can remember.
Hmm. He came from Afghanistan. Are you sure about it?
And the region around Persia and Afghanistan, I'm
Hmm.
modern day area around Iran and Afghanistan border, somewhere from there. And
Hmm.
I'll correct myself, sir. I think he was from Persia.
Hmm. Okay. Pulkit, he took the peacock thorn away. That is what you said. He took that throne away. Clear? It belonged to which Mughal emperor?
Sir, I'll try to think about it. If
Hmm.
we are talking about the period 1739, then it's after Aurangzeb, that in 1707. I think there was one ruler from 17 around 7 till 1720 to 1740. I cannot recall his exact name, but he was some of the later and generation from the significant Mughal ones.
Okay. Pulkit, it originally belonged to which Mughal ruler? Who sat on the peacock throne for the first time?
Sorry, sir, I'm not well averse with its history of the throne as such.
This throne is mostly associated with Shah Jahan. How would you rate Shah Jahan as a ruler? Was he a good ruler? Would you want to live in a society which is ruled by Shah Jahan?
Sir, if I have to comment on Shah Jahan as a ruler, I think he was an efficient ruler. He could rule over a significant part of the country, and more or less, he was having a peaceful existence at that time. And moreover, he promoted architecture and celebrated the artisans and the experts in this regard. And if I have to think about living in such a society, the only limitation I will find will be regarding the lack of emphasis on developing science and technological systems during that period. And also, I could also identify some of the practices like the Parda system and other practices, which might make me a little reluctant in terms of going and living in this period. But if you talk about other aspects, I find it a very good phase for the Indian history, especially after the period between Akbar, Jahangir, and Shah Jahan.
Okay, Pulkit, since we are talking about the Mughal Empire and we are also talking about the empire in context of your birth date, do you know any famous personality from the medieval period, especially the Mughal times, who also celebrate his birthday on your birthday?
Sir, I think I cannot recall exactly, but I think it will be very illuminating for me if you can tell me or give a hint regarding this also.
He was a contemporary of Aurangzeb.
Sorry, sir, I cannot recall.
Have you heard about Dara Shikoh?
Sir, I think he was his brother, in fact, Aurangzeb's brother. And I've heard about him, and he was seen as a very pious and religious person. And seen, often some of the historians believe that he could have been a very good alternate to Aurangzeb, and he could have brought about a more prosperous and more inclusive society that time. But yes, it is all about speculation because we could not see his rule.
If he was so good and so pious, and there are many historians who say the same thing what you have just said, why Dara Shikoh is not given that much of prominence in our history books as Aurangzeb has been given? What do you think? What is the reason?
Sir, history always celebrates the winner. We very reluctantly talk about second winners. And as such, the history writers focused that time more on the aspect of the first, they focused more regarding the political affairs and the regimes. Later on, they started talking about the socio-cultural aspects. And I think during that phase of the historical writing, he got prominence.
If you are given the opportunity to rewrite the Indian history books, what corrections will you make?
Sir, I think in this regard, I will take from the steps that NCERT has taken recently, the way they have made it more objective, and in terms of revealing about the socio-cultural life and the lessons that can learn from the history. I would take that step further, and adding to this, I will write some of the learnings that or the inspirations that one can have from that particular period in the present context. So that will be one addition I can think about it, because for me, history is always about learning a lesson so that I don't repeat a mistake. I don't think that excessive focus should be in terms of the political aspects or how the rule, how efficient or what were the achievements of a ruler. I believe it should be more about what were the achievements that time or what factors made it a very good regime and what will be the lessons in the context of the modern democratic Indian society.
Okay. Pulkit, you come from Panchkula.
Yes, sir. I will add an addition to that. I come from a village, Mandhoti in Jhajjar, and I was very fortunate that I had a very diverse upbringing. My father was in the armed forces, And right now we are settled in Panchkula. My parents are settled in Panchkula.
Okay. Panchkula falls in which division?
Sir, I think sorry, sir, I cannot recall, but it could be, I think, Ambala division.
Yes, very well. It falls into that division only. Now, Pulkit, suppose I am in Shimla and consider the terrain to be homogeneous. It means there are no mountains, no rivers, nothing. And I can move in any direction. It's an isotropic surface. And where am I? I am situated in Shimla. I want to go to Panchkula. In which direction will I move?
Sir, according to me, I will be taking a slightly southwest direction in this regard. And I cannot tell you the exact angle with respect to any of the, but I think approximately it will be a southwest direction.
Okay. What is the geographical area of Panchkula? Or rather, you tell me what is the administrative area of Panchkula? Total area.
Sorry, sir, I cannot recall it right now, sir. I'm very sorry for that.
Okay. You said that your father is in the army. Then why you are preferring civil services over military services? Are you not willing to carry that pride forward of your family? Serving in uniform?
Sir, definitely I always seeked it. In fact, I would like to tell about my initial aspiration was always to join the armed forces. I did appear for my NDA exam, but I could not, unfortunately, qualify my SSB. But at the same time, something different happened. I was fortunate enough that I got a seat for myself in the prestigious Indian Institute of Technology. And thereafter, I have taken myself on that particular route. I believe that, yes, given an opportunity, I will definitely try to serve my country. But at the same time, I am also very flexible regarding the opportunities that come to my way. And I always try to excel in those aspects.
Panchkula has a cantonment.
Sir, it is the Western Command headquarters, the Chandi Mandir cantonments. And I was very fortunate that I did my 10th and 12th standard from the very same cantonment.
Okay. What values did you learn while you visited those areas or while you were part of that cantonment, directly or indirectly?
Sir, one was regarding that it made me very emotionally intelligent being. We visited a lot of diverse sections. We lived in a kind of a mini India. We learned about a lot of cultural, a lot of eating habits. So it made me a very, I could say that it was a breeding ground for a very good exposure in terms of understanding my own country. Apart from this, during my association, I was also part of NCC. I was good in sports, so it made me very disciplined and regimented as well. And I have taken these values from the life that I had that time.
Okay. Panchkula also has a very famous temple, which is known as the Khajuraho of North India. Do you have any idea about that temple?
Sir, it's very difficult for me to identify the exact temple. But I can identify one will be the Kali temple, the Mansa Devi Mandir. These are some of the famous temples, but I'm not sure exactly which one is referred as Khajuraho of North.
Have you heard about the Bhima Devi temple complex?
Sorry, sir, I have not been there and I have not been much aware of it.
Okay, never mind. Pulkit, you have played the game of cricket. In fact, you were vice captain of your university team, right?
Yes,
or your college
yes.
team. Was it a college team or a university team?
Sir, it was our institute team, IIT BHU's team, not the university level team.
So what is the role of a vice captain in a cricket team?
Sir, he is an integrator between the captain and the other teammates. He has to learn regarding the needs of the others, and he is always in the phase of learning leadership, because at time he might have to step up for any game as a captain as well. And at the same time, he has to be very diligent regarding and respectful regarding the opinion of the captain. He might act as a second hand in this regard, but he has to be considerate that at the end of the day, the decision should be seen that it is flowing from the captain, and he has taken your perspective in that decision making, but you should not have a very aggressive remark regarding the final decisions.
Pulkit, you are a batsman or a bowler?
Sir, I am an all-rounder. I am a left-arm medium pacer, and I bat third down as a middle-order batsman.
You are a left-arm medium pacer.
Yes, sir.
Do you have any idea what is known as a banana swing in cricket?
Sir, I cannot recall it exactly, but because of the nature of the curvature that the ball gets, the intense horizontal deflection it gets, the name has been coined in order to refer to such a swing, which is very not very common, and it depends upon various factors when a bowler is able to produce such kind of a ball.
Do you know any other Indian player who also does more or less the same thing what you do in cricket?
Sir, has it to be a left armer or it could be
a left armer? And you say that you bat in a middle order? So a middle order batsman and a left armer medium pace bowler. A swing bowler.
I can identify Irfan Pathan, but I think he did not bat in the middle order. Same goes with Robin Singh. He batted in the middle order, but I think he was a right arm medium pacer. So right now I cannot recall someone matching this profile as a third down player and a left arm medium pacer.
Suppose you are on the cricket field, your team is fielding, right? And your captain says, Pulkit, go and stand at the fly slip position. Where will you stand? Between which two slips?
Sir, the flying slip will be a little behind the conventional first slip, and between the conventional, the third man that we have, and that is usually done on a pitches which are bouncy, that are very rare in India. And if we want about positioning it, I think he could stand in between the first and the second slip in this regard, but around, I can say, the 45-yard circle. Depending on the pitch, he can go a little deep also.
Suppose you are standing at the cow corner position. Which fielder is diametrically opposite to you at that point? If you are standing at the cow corner.
Sir, I think the third man or the short third man, third man will be at the diametrical opposite if I am having a third man in this regard.
Okay. Is the cow corner and deep mid wicket one and the same position?
Sir, deep mid wicket is slightly at a, you can say deep mid wicket is slightly towards the straighter part, and cow point is around, we can say, around 45 degree from the stance that the batsman takes, and it's very difficult to hit at such a position.
Okay. Pulkit, you have also been associated with some democratic activity. Your DAF says you have been a part of a Senate or something like that. Was it a democratic body?
Sir, it was a students' representative body. And yes, it was democratic in the sense that we had a good process for conducting the elections, whereby we had representative from each year who used to take forward the views of the students in the Senate that we were having in the institute.
Since you were a senator, it means you were also returned by your constituency. May not be a geographical constituency, but a group of students whom you would be representing. What were the issues on which you fought your election?
Sir, my issues that time were regarding improving the mess facilities, improving the security at the campus, because that time it was a prominent issue that we were facing, and improving the playground facilities, not in the gymkhana, but also in the other common area where I think majority of other students went, keeping apart those who represented the institute. So, sir, these were the three main issues on which I had put forward my nomination in this regard.
And once you were elected, what move did you make to fulfill your promises?
Sir, in this regard, we were collectively having one representative across. So we were giving him the inputs regarding that this is the demand from my particular year, and this is the demand from my particular department. So you had to somehow accommodate it. And when you are representing us in the Senate, so I used to collect data regarding it, collect regarding the status of the mess facilities, and I have to act as a facilitator for him because we had one representative in this regard. So this was my contribution in this.
Okay. Pulkit, what is the difference between a senator of the US Congress and a member of the Council of States in the Indian Parliament? What is the difference between them?
Sir, the difference will be the senators have equal, each state has, I think, 2 representatives. But in India, there can be, depending on the population, they can come, we can have a different.
Let me cut you short there. I think you did not get the question. I did not ask about the composition of the Senate and the Rajya Sabha, but I'm asking what is the difference between a senator and a member of the Council of States? It means a Rajya Sabha member.
Sir, if I talk about the difference in this regard, in India, he could be either nominated or elected by the states, whereas in USA, he will be coming as elected by the states. First difference will be lying on this. The second will be on the aspects of there he is more as a federal representative. In India, the MP in Rajya Sabha, apart from a federal representative, he has to also cater to the other requirements and depending upon the political dynamics. Then some very important role for a person or MP in Rajya Sabha comes in the role as a check and balance system in the Indian parliamentary machinery, whereas in USA it has a different status with respect to his relation with the other house.
Okay. Pulkit, suppose you are an IPS officer and your senior has given you a command that suppose you are in a riot-like situation and the senior has given a command to shoot one person in that group of people who are, say, protesting or rioting, or maybe a riot kind of situation is about to break out. So to prevent that, your senior has given you the command that you need to take an aim and you have to fire a shot. The group consists of women, elderly, and children. Whom will you shoot? You have to take the shot.
Sir, I like some clarification. I am an IPS in this role.
Yes, you are an IPS and you have to take the shot with your hands. Suppose that is what is the situation. The exigencies of the moment demand that you have to fire a bullet and you have to fire it only one bullet, clear? And the options are women, children, and elderly. On whom will you fire the bullet?
Sir, firstly, it's very difficult for me to resolve this dilemma. But if you are, I am not given any option that I have to shoot someone. And think I will prefer an elderly, and that too at an area where he may not have a fatal injury. And because I believe that as a result of that shot, we might be able to disperse the crowd. This will be my first reaction or the thinking behind when I'm shooting it. And shooting a child and a woman, I will put on a different domain rather than shooting at an old person. Although ethically speaking, I won't be in favor of shooting anyone, but given no chance, I will pick up this option.
Okay. Your hobby is very interesting, Pulkit. It's whiteboard explainer videos, something like that. It is written in the DAF. Is that a hobby which you have inculcated throughout your life, or you picked it up during the lockdown?
Sir, before lockdown, I had picked up. I had come across these modern animation softwares, and I had some interest in cartooning since childhood. And as I was working in the edutech sector, I came across this software. Then I realized that this will be something as a value addition on my existing skill. and I can use the animation tools in order to express myself better or convey my thoughts that I used to do earlier using a canvas on which it was only a 2D dimensional diagram I used to draw. But using this, I can even give it a motion, a dynamic effect, and it can be more impactful vis-a-vis it. So I started getting involved it, I think around 2019, January month itself. But yes, the lockdown definitely helped me in this regard in order to work on it and develop my skills on it.
Okay, Pulkit, one last question before I pass the baton to sir. Pulkit, who is your favorite Indian politician who is presently active in politics?
Sir, I'll identify myself with Shashi Tharoor, and not because of his role as a politician, because the sheer knowledge and experience that I can learn from him given an opportunity if I ever come across him.
Okay, in that context, let me just add one more question. Shashi Tharoor once said that the economic class is for the cattle class. It is for cattle. Are you aware of that statement?
Yes, sir. I will. That's why I'll correct myself again. I explicitly mentioned that I am not following him for his political views, but because of the kind of knowledge and the acumen he has gathered, and referring to this particular issue, yes, there was clarity. I think the issue was around 6 to 8 years ago, and that time he had made a clarification that this was not to hurt anyone's sentiment, but it was seen to be more as a humor or the form in which the kind of services that we provide in our economic classes. That was more a witty statement on that. But yes, again, thanks to politics, it came out in different colors and it got a different interpretation.
Okay, Pulkit. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Pulkit, what do you mean by the word Pulkit?
Sir, happiness.
Okay. There was a very famous poem by Mahadevi Verma about Pulkit. Do you remember that?
Sorry, sir. I have not come across it.
Okay. And you also said that the 20th of March is celebrated as the...
Sir, I think the World Happiness Report comes on that day. And
the World International Day of Happiness. Okay, good. International Day of Happiness falls on your birthday, and your name also stands for happiness. Right? Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Have you heard of the word capitalism?
Capitalism? No, sir, I have not heard of it.
Okay, you have not heard of it. Doesn't matter. Okay. When was this International Day of Happiness established by the UN? Do you have any idea about it?
Sir, I think it's a very recent, I think in the last decade or so only, after the Bhutan had spoken about it vocally. And I think in the last decade or so only, they have started celebrating it as World Happiness Day. I'm not very particular about the year.
Okay, you said Bhutan started. What did Bhutan start about happiness?
Sir, Bhutan promoted a new concept regarding the economic growth. It promoted a concept that our economic growth should not be the only criteria of judging our development. It gave a more holistic definition. It tried to give a more holistic interpretation to it. And it said that in the end, it's always about the people of the regime. And if we have to cater to them, they said that their goal should be about creating more happiness among the people, about their satisfaction with the regime, and the way they approach the regime in terms of fulfilling their various socio-economic and other needs.
What did the term it as?
Sorry, sir, I cannot recall the exact term.
Have you heard of the word GDH?
Yes, sir, Gross Happiness Index. Thank you for helping me with that, sir.
Okay. You said you play cricket as an all-rounder, right? You are a batting all-rounder or a bowling all-rounder?
Sir, I had more role as a bowling all-rounder.
Okay. As a bowling all-rounder, you also play in the middle order, you said, in your team.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Tell me, can you name any 5 strokes that are played on the onside in cricket?
Sir, on the one will be the drive at the mid-on. Then I can have a scoop, the recent invention regarding that. Then I can go for a flick. The third will be flick. Then I can also go for a on drive.
You talked about it.
Sorry, sir. Then apart from that, sir, the pull shot. Yes, sir. Depending on the length of the ball, I can play a pull shot. And in recent years, we are also seeing helicopter shot been also developed in this regard. These will be the 5.
And what about the hook shot, one of the most famous hook and sweep shots?
Sir, yes, sir, definitely. I could not cover it in the 5. It did not
Okay.
strike to me.
Okay. When you talked of the scoop shot, who invented this shot?
It's very difficult for me to identify the person. But in recent years, number of players are playing, especially after the advent of T20 cricket. Suresh Raina was among the one whom I saw earlier when I started following it. And thereafter, a very famous scoop was Robin Uthappa in the finals of one of the bilateral series with England. So before it, I'm not much averse with the history. It's quite possible that it could have been played earlier also, but it was not as prevalent as it is today.
Now, if I tell you that it was invented by some Sri Lankan cricketer, can you identify?
Sir, I think Tilak Ratne Dilsan we are referring to, and his shot was known as Dil Scoop. I'm very sorry, I could not recall him in this regard.
Okay, good. You also said that your father was he served in the Indian Army. He retired from which regiment?
Sir, he was in the EME, Electrical Mechanical Engineers.
Okay, so that is the reason why you went into the IIT, right? Okay.
No, sir, my father was only a clerk. It was not planned. I'm very fortunate that some of my dots are connecting, but he was only an other rank officer, and his job tradition was as a clerical job.
Okay. So tell me, you studied in the cantonment school. You studied in the 10th and the 12th. When is the Army Day celebrated?
Sir, 15th January.
And why?
Sir,
Why 15th of January?
Sir, I cannot recall the exact war, but there is some significance related to celebration of victory in some of the historical wars.
Are you
I
sure
cannot
about
recall.
it?
Sir, I can only recall about it. Maybe I'm not very sure because a long time I have not read about it.
This was the day when the first Indian commander-in-chief took over, General Cariappa. Okay. Tell me, who is your role model from your state, if I have to ask you that?
Pardon me, sir, role model from?
From your own state.
Sir, from my state, I think I'll identify with Saina Nehwal. I can identify. Then this other person could be in this regard.
What is it about Saina Nehwal that interests you or impresses you?
Sir, firstly about her achievements and being coming from such a society where women are not having significant rights and other aspects. She had bridged a lot, and her achievements also is something to which I can look forward.
Okay, good. You also said that you are currently, you were earlier employed as a scientist in the DRDO Bangalore.
Yes, sir.
So why did you leave that job?
Sir, that time for leaving it, the reason was regarding I aspired for more exposure, and that was a time I was just 23-year-old. I thought that if I will be staying in this job for coming 3 to 4 decades, I will be just restricted to role only as a scientist. And apart from this, I always had some kind of inspiration since childhood, I was promoted by my family as well as my villagers as well to someday try and aspire to be a civil servant. So, and third reason was, sir, I had started my preparation, but I could not balance the responsibilities with my preparation. Hence, I decided to leave my job and opt for a thorough preparation and have a full dedication to it.
That means you never had an option, you never thought of joining the defense services as a career.
No, sir, I did join it. I worked for 1 year. I did work with the GTRE gas turbine. I did work on a project, but I decided it that staying here will restrict me only to the field of research. Whereas even from even my father and my grandfather told me that when you are seeking for career options, you should not be limited only by the fact that this is going congruent with your skills as well as it will be reflecting good about that you are contributing directly to the society. There are many factors when you consider it. And they said that you have been kind of a person who have had a very diverse exposure since childhood, and you are a very curious person. And if you want to pursue it, you should definitely go for it. Even if you are not successful, we are sure that during the process itself, it will be a very good learning experience. And you can always join the workforce, that I eventually did in 2018 in a different role. But this was the view regarding profession which I had seen from my father, and I also had a similar thinking about it.
No, but you joined the NCC and left NCC after certificate A. Why did you not go in for certificate B and C then?
Sir, when I talk about B, that was the time when I had to think more about cracking or pursuing my studies in the PCM, and it was very difficult for me. And talking about certificate C, it was a time during my college where I was involved in various co-curricular activities, right from my involvement in the cricket team to other clubs. It would have been very difficult for me to diversify in that experience. Hence, I did not pursue it after it. And I think uh, even this certificate A was also a very good exposure for me to learn regarding the motto of the NCC in this regard.
What is the motto of the NCC?
Sir, unity and discipline.
Okay, that is the current motto of the NCC. What was the motto of NCC earlier, before this?
Sorry, sir. I'm not, I cannot recall it. Maybe it could be based somewhere on communal harmony, because that was something on which we were extensively involved during our NCC camps that I had attended during that time. It might be possible, but I cannot say it specifically.
Anyway, it was duty. The word duty was later on deleted. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Tell me, you have also worked with the DRDO, as we said, right? Now, if I may ask you, DRDO is doing a pretty good job. India's defense budget has been increasing year on year. And DRDO has got a fair share of this defense budget allocated to it for development. But then why has DRDO not delivered completely as we should have expected? Because we still continue to buy our major defense equipment from other countries. Why?
Sir, firstly, I'm very thankful that you appreciated the effort that DRDO is putting. But now coming to the challenges that it is facing, there are a number of factors I can identify. A, it is the nature of technology it is involved. B is regarding the kind of communication gap between services and the scientist. C, I can identify here is regarding the training updation and other aspects of the working scientist. And these are, I also find some challenges in terms of the nature of working. Right now, also, they are very much dependent on collaboration with various other research organizations, and they lack in terms of working on the core sciences. And that again comes to, sir, the paucity of funds. Yes, the point is very taken that yes, the funds are been increased, but if we look at the overall sum that we are having at hand and the kind of challenges that we have, still it's the challenge of paucity of fund exists there.
Okay, and with the Make in India system that is on right now, which is the major focus area of the government presently, where do you see India as a defense exporter of defense equipment in, say, 5 years from now?
Sir, I'm very optimistic regarding it because my evidence goes from the contribution by the private sector in the space technology. Because the private sector, although it might not contribute directly in big system, but it always helps in innovation and promoting competition. So seeing this regard, I'm very optimistic. And when we talk about some of the recent policies, like policies on indigenization and the strategic partnership that government has started, definitely it will result in more flux in terms of interaction of technology and import of personnel in this regard. And overall, I believe maybe 5 year time might be short in this, but I feel that it is a very good step in this regard, and it will definitely give us fruits as we have seen in other sectors in the science and tech also.
Okay, recently the government of India started foreign direct investment in manufacturing of defense equipment. How much in favor of it are you?
Sir, regarding in favor, I definitely have a liberal idea regarding this. Yes, technology, it will promote influx of technology and finances in this regard. But at the same time, my issues goes with regarding the autonomy that might be sacrificed because of the factor of the production, that is capital, that will be foreign owned. And that could be one issue that we can look about. And I think if we have adequate regulations regarding this, that can also be tackled.
Okay, good. One last question. What in your idea is happiness?
Sir, my idea regarding,
or if I can ask you also, what makes you happy?
Sir, I'm content when I'm working on some project. I have some achievements from it, and I can indulge in some kind of activity which is apart from my professional activity.
Okay, what is the happiest moment of your life in that?
Sir, till now my happiest moment was when I got job at DRDO, and when I called my family regarding this, they were very proud of me, and I was also very happy regarding it.
So the happiest moment was very short-lived, just for a year and a half or two.
Sir, that's the life that we have. It was the happiest, but it could not be eternal also. Maybe I will seek some more moments so that I can change this moment as well.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, Pulkit.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Pulkit, you currently reside in, or your family resides in Panchkula, right?
Yes, sir. My family resides in Panchkula, and I am having a job in Gurgaon right now.
Okay. Are you aware of literacy rate of Panchkula?
Sir, it is around 84%.
Are you sure of it?
I'm not very sure. The figure is somewhere around this, above 80%.
Okay. Who is currently Deputy Commissioner of Panchkula?
Sorry, sir, I cannot recall it.
Okay. Have you heard about PM CARES Fund?
Yes, sir.
Tell me the difference between PM CARES Fund and PM National Relief Fund, and why PM CARES Fund has not been part of RTI.
Sir, the difference will be PM National Relief Fund was as part of the statute, the Disaster Management Act, and this PM CARE is a sort of an exigency fund created in order to tackle the imminent COVID pandemic situation. This is the major difference, lack of statutory backing with respect to this. And coming to the second part, it has not been in part of RTI. Speaking on the principles of governance, it's unfortunate that if it had been part of RTI, it would have promoted much more confidence and transparency. But at the same time, the government believes that it has discretion in this regard, and it wants to keep it out of the purview that we have with respect to the conventional public finances. And seeing this, I believe the government has taken a decision to keep it outside this purview because it might have encountered different controversies about the fund.
Okay, but what do you prefer? To make PM CARES Fund a part of RTI or keep it outside?
Sir, my principle says that I will be promoting transparency and accountability. But yes, the government also has reasons in this regard. And if they're reasonable, we have to abide by the reasonable restrictions that the government might put in this.
Okay. Pratyush, are you aware about the term called Standard Triangular Language, STL?
Sorry, sir. I cannot recall right now.
Let me give you a hint. It is regarding 3D printing or additive manufacturing, as you call it.
Sir, I have
Now you
not.
can recall something?
No, sir, I have not come across it, and neither I have worked on it any time. But I can highlight regarding what could be its possible application. I can take an analytical approach. It could be
Okay.
regarding giving an input to the system whereby we can generate a prototype depending upon our willingness. And when we talk about 3D printing, it's distinct in the fact that instead of the subtractive manufacturing that we have conventionally, in this we will be going layer by layer. And I think using this input language, we can give the command whereby we can control the shape that we want to create. This will be my preliminary analysis from my knowledge of languages and what 3D printing is.
You would be aware about Internet of Things and cyber
Yes,
physical
sir.
systems.
Yes, sir.
Tell me the difference between two, IoT and CPS.
Sir, the cyber physical system says that we on the existing mechanical devices, we will be integrating the ways so that we can means like electronic sensors, etc., so that we can have a kind of information flow between them. And the concept of IoT is much wider than this. In the concept of IoT, we not only talk about the aspect of the cyber physical system, but we also talk about interchanging or interaction between the various devices also, and in terms of improvement in terms of their connectivity. So for me, it is a much wider concept whereby I identify CPM as a subset of that.
Okay. What are the challenges with respect to implementation of IoT you feel are there?
Sir, first, it's a emerging technology, and
Mhm.
especially for our country, it's now we have not started from ourselves. So first will be about availability of technology. Second will be about the cost that will be involved in this regard. It will be having an added cost in terms of the equipments. So it will be ultimately affecting the affordability. And coming from that will be the issue regarding digital divide it might create between the haves and have-nots. So these are some of the areas which
Any security challenges, Pulkit?
Yes, sir, definitely. I could not mention it earlier because there is a significant security threat associated with it, especially when we create a network system like this, it also increases the to and fro of the information and data. And if there is, it also increases the probability of breaches because of the number of connections that we might have. And it has to be significantly taken into care.
Okay. Pulkit, you might be aware or you might have read about farmers' protest going on along Singhu border, right? So,
Yes, sir.
what is your take on those protests?
Sir, my take is along the lines that Supreme Court said. Supreme Court had said that it's the right to protest. It's a fundamental right. Secondly, it also said that when you are protesting, you should not obstruct. And even it had said that if provided the protest is going on peacefully and no violent activities are carried out, such protests are allowed. So this is my constitutional and my own opinion also aligns with that.
Okay, but government believes that these protests are wrong as farmers' bill are to benefit farmers.
Sir, in this
So,
regard,
have you been through the farmers' bills?
yes, sir.
Farm bills?
Yes, sir. In this regard, government is very correct in the spirit for which it is promoting. The three bills I identify, they are very radical step in terms of changing the agricultural ecosystem because it will be aiding the entire supply chain, right from the contract farming will be helping in terms of more inputs, better inputs, and the private promoting competition in the markets is always helpful. So philosophically going, I am in support of government, but yes, at the same time as it goes, there were certain gray areas also in terms of the way they were introduced. Firstly, they were introduced as a ordinance, and it was a policy change, and that too of a of a subject as pertinent as agriculture. So this was something which the government might have thought differently. It would have been better. Secondly, they should have thought about taking them into confidence, make it more participatory, more awareness regarding what is the objective behind it, so that they could have avoided the kind of situation it eventually went into.
Pulkit, are you aware about what is the current per capita income of a farmer in India?
Sir, if I can recall from the RBI report, I think it goes around 8,000 per month. Around 8,000
per month. Are you sure
Yes,
about
sir.
it?
Yes, sir. Because if we are
Okay.
talking about farmer, the RBI survey also includes his non-agricultural income also in this regard, and this is the per household income which I am quoting.
Per capita means not per household, Pulkit. My question was ki if a particular household is involved in agriculture and a household is having 4 members, what you said 8,000 is an household income, per household income. My question was regarding per capita per farmer income. It is near to 2 to 3,000 per month. And nonetheless, my point is that government is trying to double the farmer income. What role do you think agroforestry will play in it?
Sir, a very pertinent role. I can quote from my own example. Like we are having conventional income from the traditional rice wheat system is around, we can say at maximum 60,000 per year from an acre of land. And from my own experience, I have seen that by using agroforestry as a practice, apart from this seasonal income that a farmer can generate, from the perennial crop that he will be planting, he can easily get a return of about 20 lakhs over a period of 5 to 6 years, depending upon the crop that he is investing. So we can directly identify the difference between here from the figure itself. Apart from the forest crop, the return from it, he can easily go for the conventional crops in between the area on which he has gone for this practice. So this is a very, I think, in fact, this was the reason for which I had an inclination for this practice, and we started doing it at our ancestral land.
Okay, so Pulkit, have you practiced yourself agroforestry, or you are just
Sir,
keen, or you are just interested in it?
Sir, I have not indulged in it directly because of my limitations, but yes, I have a keen interest. I study about it a lot. I do go visit it, and at times I also give suggestion to my father regarding what good practice I have identified in this. But very honest, I am not directly involved in the plowing or other activities. I have a very good knowledge regarding overlooking it, and I'm very fortunate for it that I can pursue it as a activities apart from my professional job that I'm having.
Pulkit, what was the last suggestion you gave your father regarding agroforestry? Which you could recall?
That was regarding in terms of we had planted the popular tree in this. So somewhere I found out other alternatives, like we can also go for hardwoods like teak, sal system, but they had a return period of around 15 to 20 years, whereas popular has a return period of about 6 to 7 years. So on this, I had given him some suggestion, and I was believing that it will be a longer investment. But my father said that yes, then 20 years is a longer duration to wait for return. So this was the on which I had some discussion with my father.
Okay. Are you aware about the term called silvopastoral system?
Yes, sir. In
What
this,
is it?
sir, in this practice, like if we talk about agroforestry, it is combination of forestry practice plus some agricultural practice. In silvopastoral, we go for the rearing of animals from the agricultural part and combine it with the forestry aspect.
Okay, good. You play cricket, right?
Yes, sir.
Have you heard about the recent controversy regarding bamboo bats and willow bats?
Sir, maybe I think it's not a controversy. I think it's a development that we are seeing.
Okay.
Maybe I'm wrong in this. It could be controversy also, but I have seen that there is some cricketer who had some experience from a southeastern country. He has worked upon bamboo as a material, and he is claiming that it will be giving more impact to the batsman. And the issue or the controversy which you might be indicating could be around the rules of the cricket right now. They do not allow such materials to be used, but I think that can be definitely worked upon if more results are seen with respect, more experiments are seen into this. And if it is promoting cricket, I think that can be easily looked into.
Do you know the name of that South Asian person?
Sorry, sir. It's very difficult for me. I did not pay attention to his name. I just only paid attention that he had some cricketing experience, and in fact, this was an insight for me that at times innovation can happen like this also. That someone had exposure in a different profession, then he worked in a different setup, and he contributed to cricket in a different manner.
Okay. Pulkit, what is your stand on reservation? Shall we continue it, or we should altogether abolish it?
So definitely reservation is needed, seeing the situation that we have and the goal of social justice that we aspire for.
Okay, but don't you think there are some lacunas or issues associated with current reservation policies which need to be corrected?
Definitely, sir. As a philosophy, I said that reservation should be there, and there is demand for its improvement, particularly in terms of reforms like they should ensure that only the needed are getting the benefits. They should also ensure a mechanism whereby its misuse is prevented, and also some kind of reforms that government has taken recently. I also align with them, like economic criteria they have introduced. That is a very reformative step in this regard. But yes, definitely there are reforms needed. But as a principle, I will be aligning with its social justice objectives.
Let us say, Pulkit, a good candidate like you works so hard and he's not selected for the services just because he belongs to general category, and some other candidate who is less deserving, he might get selected because of reservation. Will it change your stand regarding reservation?
Definitely not, sir. I come from a general category, and I have faced some challenges as a result of that. But I'm not having any bitterness regarding it, because this is an added constraint that I have. When I was born, my accident of life gave me some constraints on which I had to work in my life. Now I take it as an additional constraint. I have to overcome it, and definitely it will not bring me any enmity regarding it, because I empathize for the principles which it has been extended to them.
Good.
Pulkit, you have done your graduation in mechanical engineering from a reputed institute, IIT BHU. Can you tell me what is the motto of IIT BHU?
Sorry, sir, I cannot recall right now.
Okay, never mind. Pulkit, if in terms of fluid mechanics, I say A1 V1 equals to A2 V2 equals to A3 V3 and so on, what am I referring to?
The continuity equation that we have for a steady flow, and whereby the dense a medium where it is an incompressible flow.
Good. Pulkit, are you aware about the throttling process?
So in throttling process, the process is at an isenthalpic process. In this, the enthalpy of the system remains constant, but there is a change in terms of the pressure that we might have.
Okay. Now, Pulkit, suppose I have a pure crystal and I put that crystal at an absolute zero temperature. What would be the entropy of the system then?
So firstly, I think in this scenario, there will be a very significant experiment that you would have conducted, because third law of thermodynamics says that it's impossible for a pure substance or a pure crystal to achieve the absolute zero Kelvin. And in that scenario, if you are achieving that, the datum could be set as a zero entropy. But it depends. Firstly, my take is that according to my third law, it's impossible for me to achieve zero Kelvin for a pure crystal.
Good, good, Pulkit. Now, Pulkit, are you aware about a Hauser? Have you heard of Hauser? in
Yes,
terms
sir.
of military?
Yes, sir.
What kind of weapon is it? What is its range?
Sir, it's similar to a artillery gun,
Hmm.
and the difference lies in terms of the angle of projection that we have.
Hmm.
And sorry, sir, I cannot recall the range. I can
Hmm.
only recall
Okay.
its function.
Can howitzer be used along with a fighter plane?
Sir, I'll have to think about it.
Hmm.
Sir, I think it can be definitely used in order to provide a ground support. The plane could be used for operations from there, and howitzer could be used for operation at Norwell. And what I can recall is howitzer has a lesser vertical height with respect to the artillery gun, and it has a higher range. So it can be definitely used, but yes, again, we have to be very careful that the projectile that we are having, it does not somehow affect the operation in the air.
If ISRO is the jewel of India, what is DRD?
Sir, the emerging jewel.
Okay. Pulkit, have you ever, in your entire life, the span of life that you have lived, have you ever encountered patriarchy in one or any other form?
Yes, sir. I come from a rural background. I have
Hmm.
seen it. I won't deny that it does not exist. Yes,
Hmm.
patriarchal mindset do exist. And coming from an area which is infamous for it, I have encountered it, particularly with respect to the schooling options that they give for their girl child, and also in terms of deciding with respect to their future career for prospects. And I have definitely seen it.
What steps at your personal level have you taken so as to ensure that you do not ever fall into this trap of patriarchy at your personal level, individual?
Sir, at an individual level, I was very fortunate that my parents were not aligning with this view. And apart from this, at my personal level, I have been very considerate about it, that my sister does not feel that she has been differentiated, because I do believe that because of psychological effect and social effect, she might have a feeling that somewhere it could be a different various aspects in her family. So I ensure that I'm very particular to make her clear that whatever parents are doing for us, it's not because of the orthodox patriarchal mindset, it's because of the differences that we have as a human, and because of which they are giving us different opportunities to pursue our career.
Okay. Pulkit, do you like challenges in your life?
Yes, sir, because I think after challenges, you come as a reformed person with a new skill set, and that helps you in the long run.
But your DAF speaks otherwise, Pulkit, because I was just going through your cadre preferences. First, you have chosen the Northeastern cadre, or which is Zone 4, as your last option. While if you look from the administrative challenge viewpoint, it is perhaps the most challenging. And what is more striking, Pulkit, let me point it out, that in that Nagaland, which is perhaps demographically, economically, security-wise, the most challenging, it is the last of last in your preference list. And I could have still considered it as an off-chance choice. But I was going through your other cadre preferences, and I see that when you are talking about Zone 2, it is Bihar, which is your fourth option. When you're talking about Zone 3, it is Chhattisgarh, which is your last option. So in every zone, the most challenging state is your last option. And over and above, Zone 4, which is the northeastern state, is your last option. Don't you think, Pulkit, that what you just said, there is a basic contradiction in that? Would you like to defend yourself?
Sir, I won't like to defend. I will give a different perspective. I do, as we talked about challenges, everyone has a subject interpretation of that. I do oblige with the interpretation in this regard, that working at such state you mentioned, definitely they have more challenges in terms of improving our overall social indicators. But at the same time, when deciding about a profession, that is the only, not the only criteria based on which you make a decision. And there are various aspects, but firstly, it's also about how well you can maintain your family life, with how better you can manage it. And talking about challenges, I think those challenges even lie in the best of the union territories that we have. So there is no dearth of challenges anywhere. And
Mm.
not only just civil services, these challenges are also even in the private sector. So my sole criteria of going for this profession is not seeking challenges. This is the overall outlook that I have with respect to life. But here, this was the reason for which I had this kind of preference.
So it is not emanating from any kind of regional biasness.
No, sir, I don't have any kind of regional bias. It is more from the perspective how I see my career progressing, and where I identify that it will have a more cordial and more relationship with my family as well as and my other aspects also. There's nothing to relate with regional bias, and in fact, I have been very fortunate that as when we were living in various cantonments, I did live in northeastern region, and that was at the time when Ulfa was at its height, and I had very fond memories from the school time that I had there.
Okay. We'll get one last question. And that is, are you aware about the World Test Championship, which is going on?
Yes, sir.
The final?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. Are you enthusiastic about it?
Not so, but I am keeping track of it.
Okay. Now, you must be knowing that it has a reserve day and the first day was washed out. Now, does that mean that the reserve day will be fully utilized and all the 3 sessions will be used for the reserve day?
Sir, the rules were saying that we are having 450 overs allotted. And usually what happens after a rail curtailed day, we go for around 98 overs per day. So in coming 4 days, if everything permits, they will go for 98 overs per day. That 60 overs that will be left, that will be taken care in the 3rd day. And no, that is the format I can recall on which they are playing.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Pulkit, you were just talking about cricket and the test that's taking place right now. Tell me, is there any rule in cricket, or rather, let me tell you, put it the other way around. There is one rule in cricket which has not changed since cricket began. Only one rule which has not changed. What is that?
Sir, I'll be very happy to learn this from you, but I cannot identify in this way.
Okay. It is the size of the pitch. Okay. Nevertheless, I would want to ask you a question about one value that you have learned or one value that you have ingrained from your father.
Sir, I will identify discipline.
Give me an example of the discipline that you can talk of or boast about.
Sir, I can talk about the timeline that he had. He used to wake up around 5:30, go for his initial PT parade at 6. Then around 7:30, he will leave for the office. Then at 2 or 2:15, he will be reaching home. So this is the regime that I had seen in and out throughout my childhood. So I think that has somehow ingrained discipline me in other aspects also.
Okay, you were born in Jhajjar and you have now moved to Panchkula. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, tell me one similarity and one dissimilarity between these two places.
Sir, dissimilarity will be in terms of the overall socio indicators, particularly the gender right, and similarity will be similarity that I can identify is they both come in the state of Haryana and they are very significant in terms of industrial development of Haryana.
Okay, good. Pulkit, recently, of late, there was a controversy about the Twitter row. What's your take on that?
Sir, my take is constitutional take. Right to freedom of speech should be respected. And in modern day, social media is a very important platform to exercise that right. And at the same time, Article 19.2 also says that reasonable restriction can be imposed. And in this regard, the guidelines with which government has come, they are good in spirit. But although there are some challenges with respect to their implementation, particularly regarding the traceability of the origin of message, which might hamper the right to privacy at the same time, So that needs to be catered out in some way or the other. So my take is along this principle, sir.
No, but tell me one thing: is the law of the land superior, or is the policy of an organization superior? Which takes
Sir,
precedence?
Sir, definitely the law of the land is superior, and I think eventually they will have to align with it. But at the same time, their argument is also on the basis of that it might hamper the right to privacy. Their argument is also along the lines of rule of the law, the constitutional principles. Yes, it's very unfortunate that the way the situation has gone, that the institute has come out as an anti-establishment institute, which I think might not be true. And in fact, the courts will also have a very objective analysis of it.
Okay, Pulkit, tell me, what is your biggest strength?
My biggest strength is the exposure that I have had till now since childhood, as a result of which uh, I have lived in various settings in a rural background and in cantonments, then at the cultural capital, then also in metro cities. So I have a very good exposure regarding the socio sympathy or other understandings it. And from this also the kind of life I have seen, it had made me very disciplined and very focused regarding having some achievements in my life.
Okay, and the biggest weakness that you see?
Sir, that will be regarding my personal health. I at times skip meals because of my work, and also I think I can work a little more on exercising and uh, more indulging in sports off lately, especially after I started with the preparation.
Okay, one last question. Uh, Currently, you are working in place. You said you were working in Gurgaon, right?
Yes, sir.
But your staff says you're working in Noida. Nevertheless,
That was before the lockdown. I had resigned from it in last year, March 2020. After my mains, I again joined a different firm working in the edutech sector. These forms were filled before that.
okay. So you are in the educational field, edutech field as such.
Yes, sir.
And that is something which is very close to your hobby that you have, whiteboard explainer videos.
Yes, sir.
So if you're in a job which is very close to your hobby, then why do you want to quit that and join the civil service?
Sir, it's as I told you, I always seek more exposure. I find civil services can give me more experiences. This field again will limit me only to the education sector. Maybe it will help me in developing more technological skills, but in the long run, I find that joining civil services will add to my exposure, and maybe the kind of experience that I'm having right now, it will be utilized in some form or the other. That is the reason. My objective is never, when I'm working in the present job also, my objective is not to make it as a long term career. That was because of my financial needs and my need to support my family that I had joined it, and I thought that it is helping my preparation as well when I'm balancing it, working on some projects as well as making myself motivated to continue with my preparation.
Okay, you said you were unmarried. What is your take on marriage? Love marriage or arranged marriage?
Sir, my take will be, it's more about the compatibility between the two, whether it's love marriage or arranged marriage. That is essential. And yes, going by it, and in fact, going by things that I have seen, I think love marriages can be seen. But I'm also very thankful that even the institution of arranged marriage is there in the country.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Pulkit, as your father is in army, I want you to tell me what you think about Armed Forces Special Power Act. Should we continue with it or it needs some modification? What do you think?
Sir, I think you gave me the answer there itself. We should continue it, but with some modifications, particularly with respect to the human right violations for which it has been often blamed. I think those provisions can be seen into, but again, it's very difficult and easier said than done, because always there is subjectivity in seeing such scenarios. I myself have lived in such scenarios. It's very difficult to distinguish between an aggressive attack by the civilians and distinguish between the atrocities that they are often blamed for, that they would have been done just for the purpose of perpetuating some kind of that thing. It's a very gray area to deal with it, and I think the existing structure needs to evolve in terms of being more accommodative of the grievances.
Currently, AFSPA is active in how many states and what are they?
Sir, I can recall there are not all northeastern states. I think Arunachal is there, Nagaland is there, Assam is there, and one more northeastern state is there. And apart from this, I'm not very sure about Jammu and Kashmir, because after what happened after its creation, I did not particularly lay emphasis on whether they continued with AFSPA or not.
Okay. It is argued many times that subsidy schemes of government, they are problematic in a sense that they are creating they are making the masses less willing to work. Government subsidy schemes, and in this light, they need reformation. What do you think about it?
So definitely reforms are needed, as also highlighted by our former chief economic advisor when he coined a phrase, bounties to the riches, that subsidies at times go for helping the haves rather than helping more the have-nots. Definitely a reform is needed, but going on that view that when we are saying that it also promotes some kind of economic inefficiencies, I'll have a slightly different view on this. I think the subsidies regime that we are, or the structure that we are having right now, it is a mechanism whereby the government extends support. Not all, it's very difficult for me to recall any scheme whereby no contribution is demanded by the person who is involved in it. It gives you additional support so that you can bridge the economic viability gap that you might encounter in your endeavor. But yes, definitely there are some reforms needed with respect to their implementation and other aspects.
In case of, or to alleviate poverty, what do you prefer, entitlement approach or empowerment approach, and why?
Sir, my approach will be empowerment approach, because when we go for entitlement, my basic problem will be the machinery when it sees as an entitlement, as not as a right, and they are very reluctant in terms of serving the citizens in this regard when it is given to them as an entitlement. And when we go for the empowerment approach, it is more holistic. It takes the rights approach. It focuses on the building their capacities. It focuses on their agency so that they can choose an area of or a domain where they want to improve themselves.
Okay, Pulkit, who is more important, scientist or civil servant?
Sir, both, and I can say from my own experience.
You changed your job of DRDO because you found that civil servant plays a very important role than what scientist does.
Pardon me, sir, I'll correct myself. I did not leave my job because of finding one job more impactful than the other. My reason was on the basis of exposure that a job can give. That was my criteria, not the impact one can create. And coming to your question regarding the importance, both are important. And in this, I'll highlight the role of civil servants when we talk about scientists, specifically in the context of the institution which I worked. Like when we talked about the scientists work in DRDO, their ultimate customer is the services. And the biggest challenge that I found there was the lack of communication between these two organizations. And where I also found that this could have been bridged, provided the Ministry of Defense, the civil servants had a more involved role in this regard. They had a more holistic knowledge regarding the systems requirements and other aspects. So they could have acted as a facilitator in terms of making each other understand their grievances and their requirements.
Okay, Pulkit, one last question from my side. Analyze your life and tell me the one mistake you have made in your life and which would you like to correct if given a chance.
Sir, I can identify an alternative route, but I won't say it as a mistake. because I'm very satisfied with the kind of experience that I had. But given a chance, I would have definitely taken an alternative to decision. That is just because of, I think that I had missed out on that aspect. That would have been opting for a course in computer sciences when I was given an option after my second year. And that is more because of the prevalent market scenario and not because of that I am having some grudges regarding the option that I had taken.
Apart from your careers and studies, personal life mistake you have made, and would you like to correct it?
Sir, I cannot identify right now, but yes, one area which I can identify is that after I left for my college, one could be regarding, and in fact, when I'm involved in this studies also, somewhere my relations with my family have not been as ideal as they should have been. But yes, that is also because of the projects on which I'm working, and that area I can work upon, but I don't have again any grudges in that aspect also.
Thank you, Pulkit.
Thank you, sir.
Pulkit, one last question for the day before we let you go. If you have to define this interview for which you have just appeared in the form of one quotation, how would you like to define it? It can be an English or a Hindi quotation, doesn't matter.
Sir, very difficult for me to recall, but I'll try. Sir, it will be somewhere on the lines that at times you might, because truly speaking, I did not expected that we will be going in such depth on a number of questions today. But at times you can have I think a sounded reflection on yourself even when you are in a conversation. So this was more reflective on me. So this is, I'm not able to put my words in this because I could not assess, because I was thorough in terms of answering it. I could not assess what has happened for me till now. Maybe I'll take some time to give an appropriate analysis of it.
Okay, let me flip this. What is your favorite quotation? One quotation that you like very much. English, Hindi, doesn't matter.
Sir, that will be one quotation like stroke, breathe, that I recently could recall. And that is because I came across 2-3 days ago, and that is from my imminent memory and recall.
Okay, Pulkit, it was nice interacting with you. We will reconnect with you in some time for your feedback. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
So, Pulkit, I think that if you would have shaved for this day also, it would have definitely made a better impression. Anyhow,
sure, sir.
You need improvement with respect to the answer that relate to zone preferences. That area was not handled very well, not as convincingly as you have handled other areas. Also, you must know about the motto of IIT BHU. You have spent 4 years in that organization. Clear? So you must know about that. And you have been a part of the cricket team of that institution. So you must be carrying a legacy. Clear? So you must know about that. Questions relating to your date of birth were handled well. And even you could catch the drift with respect to Nadir Shah, Dara Shikoh, etc. Mechanical engineering questions were handled very well. You must learn about Panchkula a bit more, especially the cultural aspect of Panchkula. Like I asked you a question which is known as the Khajuraho of North India. You must know about it more. Questions relating to cricket were handled very well again. And last question which I asked you, that give a quotation. Such kind of questions, Pulkit, you should not miss. They are full toss.
Sir.
Do you understand that?
Yes, sure, sir.
In terms of cricket, because if you understand, if you relate to the game so much, let me tell you that it's a no ball and a leg stump full toss. So you can understand.
Definitely, sir.
Whatever answer you give, there will not be any counter question to that.
Sure, sir.
So have some quotations, quotes, poems ready with you, so that if you are asked to utter them, you do that in no time. Clear?
Sure,
so, overall, Pulkit, wonderful performance. And when is your interview scheduled, dear?
Sir, 27th August.
So you have ample amount of time. And one most important thing is you should take care of your health, because this is a very crucial period. That would be my advice. Second advice would be that you try to brush up slightly with respect to the current affairs part.
Sure, sir. Definitely, sir.
Where I found some of the answers were slightly, you were not very sure about it. Clear? So just work on these two areas. Otherwise, your DAF is well prepared. And because your hobby is unique, so there can be some questions from your hobby. I did not ask you, though I had a question in my mind with respect to the whiteboard technology that is in operation. There are 4 kinds of technology with respect to whiteboard. So you must learn about them, clear, because it's your hobby. So otherwise, Pulkit, wonderful performance. That's my feedback.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, Pulkit.
Good afternoon, sir.
Before I start telling you or give you feedback about the performance, I would want to ask you the same one question once again. What was the earlier motto of NCC?
Sir, I cannot recall, sir. I'll definitely look into it.
No. Now let me tell you why I'm asking you this question is because during the course of the talk, I told you that, and I told you only half of it. You said the current.
Sir, I can tell if you want to recall
Yes,
from that. You were told about duty, and eventually it was taken out. And I think in that case it would have been unity, discipline, and duty, because you told that it was later on taken out. But
Correct.
what I wanted to say that I had not gone it after that myself, so I wanted to reveal that.
I just wanted to know, because have you caught on? I did not give you the full sentence. I just
No, sir, I definitely interpreted it, but I wanted to be honest.
It was duty, unity, and discipline. Good. Okay. Nevertheless, now let me come down to the brass tacks. Pulkit, you were well dressed, very soft spoken, very nice. As rightly pointed out, would have preferred if you had shaved, because a full dress rehearsal is as good as the final show, right? So that would have been preferred. In the beginning of the interview, your tie was aligned towards the left. It was going horribly towards the left. I would advise you on the final day also, if you can wear a tie pin, it will give a much better look to the appearance overall. Communication skills were very good. But, you know, I thought in a couple of places there was a little bit of informality, which could have been avoided.
Sure,
in the beginning, you asked for too many clues and too many questions. I thought it was inappropriate. If you are asking for clarification, it's a different story. But if you're asking for clues, it becomes a little distracting. Then at one place, you even appreciated the question. It is not done.
Sure, sir.
Okay. You answered the question about the role of vice captain beautifully. I love that answer. And when you were asked to talk about ISRO and DRDO, your answer was prompt and beautiful. It was very nice. But overall, if I can say, your answers, had they been a little shorter, would have been much better.
Sure.
Because in quite a few places, I was observing that what you did was you put your the best point in the beginning, which is the required thing to do. But then you went on to elaborate a bit too much. So now that you have put across your strong point or your major focus area in the beginning, then you don't have to elaborate too much after that, right? Because then the impact could probably be lost subsequently by the explanation that you're giving. Whenever you made a mistake, you corrected. I think in one place you made a mistake, but then you corrected yourself and then give the right answer. Very nice. Your subject knowledge was very good. I loved it. But one thing I would have preferred, your name is Pulkit, and there's a very famous poem by Mahadevi Verma. I would have loved it if you had read that and brushed up with that poem, and maybe uttered that poem when you were asked the question about one famous quote or one poem or something which you relate to. That would have been
Sure,
very,
sir.
very appropriate. So do
Sure,
that.
sir. I'll definitely look into that.
But one thing which was which was jarring actually was your answer to the Twitter controversy. I don't feel that was the right take. You could have it sounded as if you were a bit more pro Twitter rather than pro government of India. The law of the land is supreme, come what may, right? So there, if you had probably said the law of land prevails, would have been much better had it been the preamble on which you had set up your answer. Otherwise, a wonderful performance overall. Very well done. All the best.
Thank you for your input, sir.
Pulkit, first of
Good afternoon,
all,
sir.
good afternoon. First of all, your smile was very good throughout the talk. If I highlight some good points, your answers were to the point in most of the cases, except some instances. And those instances were where you thought that you are into a trap and you wanted to clarify more about what you answered. At those places, you went for a long answer. Otherwise, your answers were to the point. Your answer about why you did not join army was very good. I found it quite good. And when you were asked with a case study regarding you are an IPS officer and you have to shoot elderly women or a child, there you asked a follow-up question, and that was very good. That means that conveyed Pulkit. So Pulkit, I was saying that your case study answers was very good, and you asked follow-up questions as well. So that is that conveys that you are interested and you are fully into that question. And but some suggestions, I felt that in some sentences you ate your later half of the sentence. You wanted to speak something, but you thought that it has already been conveyed by my expressions, so let it be. It is very informal. What you started, you should complete it. Okay. Per capita income of farmer. I asked you about per capita income of farmer, and you conveyed about a family, farm family. So listen to a question very carefully, Pulkit.
Sure.
Twitter answer, as mentioned by sir, was not expected from you, as your whole interview was excellent. In Twitter answer, what is desirable is you put forward the argument first that law of the land should prevail at all cost. Even the parliamentary committee today, headed by your favorite politician Shashi Tharoor, he said the same thing, that law of the land should prevail. Okay. And in the last question, the quotation question which Roy sir asked you, you were speaking and thinking simultaneously. You should have taken a time to think of 4, 5 seconds or 10 seconds, and then you should utter that quote.
Sure, sir.
Okay, so in any instances, if you feel that you need some time to think, take a permission and have that 5-10 minutes of pondering, and then 5-10 seconds of pondering, and then answer that question.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir.
Otherwise, Pulkit, excellent interview.
Thank you, sir.
Pulkit, based on today's performance and by averaging out everybody's marks, the board is of the view that if you give an interview of this caliber, then you will end up somewhere in the territory of 190, which is handsome and excellent, Pulkit. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
But we feel as a board that you are a 200 plus candidate.
Sure, sir. I'll work for that, sir.
And that should be your endeavor, dear. Clear?
Yes.
If you have any specific questions, you can put them forward now.
No, sir. I think most of my queries were through. I'm very happy that you didn't focus more on the knowledge part, that because there will be always some questions which I will not be able to recall. I am happy that you stressed on those questions in the feedback which were opinionated or which could have been improved. I'm very happy with that was highlighted. Otherwise, I'm very happy with the review. I will definitely go the inputs that you have given me, and I'll try to improve on that aspect also.
Pulkit, all the very best from our side, and we feel that you are an ideal candidate to walk into the Indian civil services. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
All the best,
Thank you.
Pulkit.
Thank you, sir.
All the very best, Pulkit. and see
Thank you,
soon
sir.
in the civil services.
Sure, sir.